as well. So yeah, if we haven't met before, because I haven't met all of you and I don't know all of you, which is exciting. My name is Monica.
And my name is Mark, for those that haven't met me yet. And we'll be taking you through what people pleasing is and how to break free from this. And you know what I really love about you guys is that you are here tonight. A lot of people never commit to the things that they say they want in life. So we really want to acknowledge you guys.
Oh, he's got my shoe.
For being and taking the act and being the action takers who commit to your future.
And we'll be breaking down, sorry, we're just going to mute everyone. We'll be breaking down what people pleasing looks like and how this plays out in different ways. As for most of us, we don't even realize we're doing it. All we know is we're feeling a little bit drained as we're doing it and sometimes frustrated as well. And what we found in our life and with the clients that we work with is that once we understand what we're doing and having an awareness around it, it means we can change it. Because when we're not aware, we can't do anything about it. And it doesn't matter where you're at. All that matters is that you move forward with the strategies and the tools.
Yeah. And it's a bit like when Monica might point out to me that something's really annoying her, and all of a sudden I've got the awareness of it. And that means then I can change it. And we'll be going deeper into this tonight.
And vice versa, you know, Mark will say, hey, this is really annoying me. And we never used to do that. We used to just get cranky with each other and disappear and have arguments. So once we have the awareness, we can change it.
Yeah.
And we will go deeper into this tonight and sort of break it down. So anyone here agrees that when we have awareness, hands up, then we can do something about it. Yeah, great.
And there will be some audience or basically participation tonight, because you know when we actively participate, we learn more. And it's also a lot more fun and engaging. Yeah. As you know, we don't want you guys to fall asleep on us.
No, that wouldn't be good. And we'll also, like I said, we have the chat box. So please engage as much as you can, and you will also learn more. It will sink in more the more you engage in writing and typing. So rather than us just being TV. Is everyone cool with that? Can you put your hands up if you agree to participate and just make it a bit more fun? Awesome.
Great stuff. And look, we know your time is precious, and signing up, showing up for yourself is a really big thing. So we really wanted to acknowledge you for taking this time for yourself tonight. So well done, you know, because not many people do this for themselves.
Most people don't. So fantastic that you're just showing up tonight. And they won't, just want to let you know, there won't be any sales tonight. Like you can't actually buy anything, in case you're wondering like, oh, what have I signed up for here? We'll be providing you with lots of value, so you have steps to take so that you can implement it straight away. And there will be an opportunity towards the end of the class to book in a 45-minute strategy session with either of us, whichever you prefer, and take what you learned here tonight to the next level, to have a conversation where you can, where you know where you are and where you want to be, and just how we can help you close that gap. And that will be available for a few spaces tonight.
And for some of you, that's not going to be something that you want to do. That's okay. And for some of you, it will. For some of you who will take up the free session, we'll figure out quite quickly together that we're not a match. However, you'll still walk away with the strategies you need to take the next step. And some of you will love it so much that you will talk and walk and how we take this even further. We'll talk about how we take this even further. And either way, whatever you decide, you're going to walk away with something.
So just a few things before we start. Please put your hand up if you closed all your browsers on the laptop, so you're not sitting there. And awesome. And also if you have a pen and paper handy, if you want to write some cool notes, drink of water or something else, something stronger. Like I said, we're going to go a bit deep tonight. And so bring out the wine, bring out the chocolate. Is that cool, by the way? Hands up if we're going a bit deep tonight. And like I said, we are weird and quirky. So whoever, want to run away, do it now. We might do some weird stuff. And
That's just how we roll.
That's how we roll. If you don't like it, that's okay. And is it cool? We might just, swear a bit as well. We don't know how it's going to go. Is everyone cool with that as well? Awesome.
So I'm going to just bring up a PowerPoint. So I'm going to share the screen with you. So just give me a couple of seconds whilst I get that organised and see how my technical skills go.
Da-da! Putting it to the test.
Although today, when I was playing around with this, the internet was dying because of the lightning.
But that's not going to happen now.
No.
That's not going to happen now. So get ready to be blown away.
All right.
With our, I wouldn't say our, it's all Mark actually. Come to the technicalities. That is totally Mark's.
My doing.
Yep.
All right. So you should see on your screen the first slide.
Can we see that? So
If
if
we-
I might be looking this way, I'm just going to keep an eye on.
Yep. Here's the chat box, just so we can still see everyone. Let me just get
Yeah.
organised here.
Yep.
Cool.
There we are.
So why are we here tonight? Why are you all here tonight? We're going to learn how to say no without feeling bad, overcome people pleasing, and setting healthy boundaries.
Because that is the feedback we're getting a lot of the time when we are working with our clients on saying no, because it's probably one of the first steps we're doing to make such a massive difference in their life when they learn how to say no. In beginning doing this, it's like, I feel so bad, or they're so worried about what the outcome's going to be if they start putting their foot down. And it's such an amazing tool to have that you can carry with you for the rest of your life.
And I suppose how this affected me was years ago, before I knew any of this stuff, before I had any strategies to use, I would avoid conflict. I would avoid conversations. I used to avoid conflict even with Monica.
Absolutely.
And when I did that, that just created an inner turmoil within myself. It created an inner frustration, and it tended to lend me, or I tended to become a little bit shut down emotionally, because I was keeping this all within, because I did not know how to even, bring up a conversation.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult.
Yeah. And Mark would either disappear into the shed and, get cranky for sometimes weeks, because he was carrying something within him that I had no idea. I didn't know what was going on. And then I'd never really find out what was going on either, because he wouldn't voice it. So then we never resolved the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hands up, by the way, if that resonates with you, if anyone's ever done that. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So again, welcome. And what are we covering tonight? So the first one, we're going to cover people pleasing. Are we serving, or are we sabotaging ourselves? Repeating patterns, how and why?
Yeah, we'll be going a bit deeper into how they appear, what it looks like, and why we're doing it. Again, just to get the awareness. And this is not to make anyone feel bad. We are all doing it. We are doing it too.
Absolutely.
We're just getting better at it because we have an awareness. It's just, having the awareness so we can do something about it, no matter where you're at, because I get that everyone's at a different stage.
And towards the end, we'll have the Q&A, and we're also going to send out after the masterclass a people-pleasing assessment, which is such a great tool. It's something that you can then look at different questions. What are your responses to those questions? And then we're also going to have a people pleaser checker, which is a simple document you can read through, and you can follow the arrows as to where your best decision or your best judgment and your gut feel where it's going to take you.
And that's a big deal. Like we have used this a lot, especially in the beginning when we got to a point when we were aware that we were people pleasing, and we might have been invited somewhere or someone might have asked us something where we have a little bit of time to decide, and we'll check in with ourselves and we take, yeah, you will receive it after, but we have used this so much when we have a little bit of time to reflect and following that chart of, you know, is this aligned with what I want? If not, how to actually go about it and say no. So we'll give that away after, we'll send it to you.
Yeah. So who are we?
Yes.
About us. Look, we're empowerment coaches and mentors. We're human behaviour specialists. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist, and we're certified relationship mindset coaches.
And we've been doing this for us who haven't followed our whole journey. We've been doing this for over 7 years, close to 8 years now.
Yep.
We were relationship coaches and in that space for a good 7 years, and coaching couples and singles, really any addictions, relationship breakdowns, any trauma, abuse. There's nothing we haven't heard or seen that could shock us, nothing we haven't worked with, and there's nothing that you could say or do that would make us think any less of you. We are just not capable of that form of judgment.
Yeah.
We've been married for close to 18 years.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Happily married too.
Yeah, blended well for most of that time. A lot happier after we actually started to have more awareness on this and started to heal our own shit that was going on.
Absolutely.
That we had no idea. We have a blended family. So Mark's got 2 older children from a previous relationship, Jack and Lucy, that you can see in the picture here with
our quirky
Mike's,
family.
Yeah, Mike's parents. That's exactly what it looks like most of the time. And they're 23 and 26. And then we've got a little more together in the middle there in blue. She's 12, turning 13.
That's our family.
Mm.
And I suppose there's the part about staying in friendships. You know, why do we stay in friendships?
So
something you experience.
Yeah, so my experience of being a people pleaser. Should I turn this off?
Oh, no.
Is it echoing? No. Can everyone still hear us properly? Hands up. Awesome. Yeah, my experience of people pleasing is quite different to Mark's, and hence why we are so outspoken about so many different ways this can take part, and that we're not aware of it, because I always thought I wasn't a people pleaser because I am very straightforward, and that I would stay in friendships that wasn't serving me. I would be the person that everyone would go to, and being everyone's sort of mentor and lending an ear to everyone and listening to everyone's problem and solving everyone else's problems. And I was so busy doing that, taking on that role, which made me feel great at the time, but it resulted in me not showing my own emotions, not letting anyone know that I was struggling, which meant that no one knew that I had so much shit going on too, and I needed someone to lean on. So that was my way of pleasing everyone else, so that I could feel good, being the caretaker of everyone. And I unconsciously was carrying that mask because I didn't feel safe to let anyone know that I was vulnerable too. I needed people to be there for me.
Well, that was something that you have learnt over time, to be vulnerable and allow people to see that part of you, because it wasn't a part that people could see.
Yeah, that's something I learned growing up, that wasn't safe for me to do. That's how I protected myself growing up.
Yeah.
And your experience was quite different.
Yeah, mine was, I'd become isolated, and then I'd use drugs and alcohol to numb my own self. And that was my part of, not knowing how to have a conversation or to avoid conflict.
That was big for you.
So I'd go elsewhere in regards to numbing myself out, so I didn't have to deal with that. So I didn't have to have that tough conversation. And even though those conversations now don't seem tough, because I've learned strategies to be able to work, or I've worked on that. But back then though, it was a real struggle. And I suppose I went down, drugs and alcohol to try and numb that and forget about that. And
being a bit of a joker.
I
never
joke about
taking
everything.
anything serious, to avoid
Absolutely.
conversations, and then I get cranky because we could
Yeah.
never have a proper conversation. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just going on and on and on.
So if Monica did want to have a conversation, I would be the comedian, and
Mm.
I'd actually just make a joke of it and start, have a bit of a chuckle, make light of it. She didn't want that, and I didn't really want that. I didn't know any other way though.
And you are still a comedian.
But I'm
However,
better.
now you have now you are a comedian in the right times.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's not about trying to avoid challenges in our life, because they are unavoidable. Like, we need challenges to grow. It's about how we move through them. And are you getting the support that you need? Are you reaching out for help? That's more important.
And we had a lot of resistance when we had to invest in ourselves, at the beginning of our journey. We had never invested in ourselves before, and it was really scary.
Yeah.
And over the last 8 years, coming up to 8 years, we've invested over $100,000 in our own personal development, being coaches, mentors, programs, you name it, and it's a no-brainer for us. However, it wasn't like that at first.
We had thoughts of, oh my God, is this going to work? Is this going to work for us? What if it doesn't work? What if people are going to judge us if it falls through? And what we realized was that it was really about us stepping into our own power, just taking charge of our own life, and just learning the tools and the strategies that we needed to change our own circumstances.
Yeah.
Having the confidence to take the step and do the things that we never done before, and figure out who we could truly be when we had the courage to do something different. Absolutely.
And I still remember the phone call when Monica called me saying, honey, I want to go do this program, and it was $14K. And I was like, $14,000? What? I've got a $4,000 car. You want to invest $14K? And it was scary. Yes. And I get that. It is scary.
Yeah.
So
we have to make sure that we find a way regardless of our fear, because fear is always going to be there. It's, again, how we move through the fear. Doesn't matter where we're at. It's about taking the small step to move through the fear, because on the other side, there is the confidence. When we do something scary that we haven't done before and we push through that, it's not before, because everyone says we need more confidence to do X, Y, Z. It actually doesn't work like that. Have you ever, hands up, if you've ever been in a situation where confidence arrived just before you were about to do the thing? Like, I've never had that happen. But hands up if you've ever done something really scary, and after that, as a result, you gain more confidence. Who's ever experienced that?
Yeah, it's pretty much when you first started riding a bike, a push bike. You're a kid and you think, you're scared as before you ride it, but then you get on and you're just full of confidence and you're on. It's like that.
But it was scary because you didn't know how many times you're going to fall over.
Correct. And we love this quote. People pleasing is rooted in fear and focus on earning love.
Because the reason why we are people pleasers, no matter in which way it turns up, because everyone's doing it differently and at different levels, is because we are afraid. We are worried that we're going to get judged. We worry that we're not going to get loved or belong. And we worry that we are going to be disconnected from people around us. They're not going to like us when we start putting our foot down and saying no. It's scary.
Absolutely. So people pleasing, how it shows up. And some of these, I resonate with these, and some of you may as well. Needing others to like you.
And finding it hard to say no. Like, it's a big deal.
Absolutely, it's a big deal.
Most people don't.
Yeah, and apologising when it's not necessary. I know I used to do that, and sometimes I still do it when I'm, because we do this unconsciously at times. Sorry, and it's like,
And it is it is a big, amongst women in particular, I know it's mostly men on here tonight, but amongst women, it is so common to apologize all the time for everything. It's almost like we're apologizing for our existence. And it just communicates that, hey, you can't trust me. You can't trust me with all that responsibility. Hey, back off.
Yeah.
And it's not how we want to portray ourselves.
Absolutely not. And taking fault when you're not to blame.
Who's ever done that, by the
Yeah.
way? Said, oh, that was me, because you want to rescue someone else.
Yeah.
And a lot of parents do it for their children as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And agreeing when you don't agree. That used to be me.
Yeah.
That used to be me. I would agree with everyone because I didn't want any conflict. I just wanted easiness, free and easy. So I would agree with people. And of course, then it led to frustration.
Yeah. So then we start to get a bit disappointed with ourselves. We start to build up this anger and frustration, but we have no idea why, because we're saying yes to everything and everyone.
Yeah.
We agree with everyone and everything. And especially if we're at work and we have someone that, you know, we can't say no to tasks and chores, and we don't know how to delegate, or we know, but we feel too scared to do it. So we're the one putting our hand up to everything. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But then we're the ones feeling exhausted and frustrated and don't get our own stuff done.
Yeah, because we're putting ourselves last because that.
So type in bold, guys, what's your biggest key takeouts so far? What's your biggest key takeouts? Are you guys loving it? Are you guys learning lots? Great. What's your biggest key takeout?
You jump on there. Yeah, me too. Yeah, sure have. Yeah. And you know what? It's very normal as well. Most of us have done it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
It's about where do we go from here?
And the last point is that, and thank you everyone for chucking that in there as well.
Yeah.
I've told them to say no. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Work situations for sure. Yeah. It's so common. And once we learn how to go, and that the chart will help a lot with that as well, to confidently say no, and we'll go more into it, not to having to explain too much. Yeah. Behind people pleasing, there is fear. Yeah.
So why does it show up? Why does people pleasing show up? You know, at the top of it, it's unhealed childhood wounds. And yeah, that's pretty deep, straight up. It is though. And then we have the ones underneath that follow that. So
the unhealed wounds, it's things that we've experienced growing up. So the big people, the caretakers that were around, whether that was our parents or our siblings or our aunties or uncles or foster parents or grandparents or teachers, whoever were around the big people.
The magical big people.
Whoever were around us that we trusted because we had to, because when we're little, we're so vulnerable. So we have to trust the adults. Whatever we learned or took on as little, we carry with us. So if we were taught that it wasn't safe to say no or express emotions or get angry or be sad, we carry that with us. So we want to please, we want to feel love, we want to feel connected, and knowing that there is someone there to back us, because we literally can't survive as little people if our caretakers are not there on our side.
Correct.
So that's when we develop all these different behaviors so that we can fit in, like we get molded.
Yeah, and all this happens in unconscious. It's an unconscious fear. You know, we are often not aware of why we are feeling this way, why we're acting this way. You know, and for me, a lot of what Monica said there is my story. You know, part of my story of, you know, I wanted to be liked. And some of you know my story. You know, 2 older brothers, went to an all-boys school, and I had to fit in. You know, I couldn't show many emotions. I had to know how to fit in. So I dropped aspects of myself to do that because I wanted to people please. So my insecurities was part of that. Low opinion of yourself, low self-worth, links to unhealed childhood wounds.
And also the lack of tools to
Oh,
know
yeah.
how to move through this.
Yeah.
I remember at school being told that my teacher said to me something like, it's because of people like you, Monica, that teachers want to quit their job, because I wasn't learning at the speed that she was able to teach me. And at the time, I felt pretty horrible, but I didn't realize the significant impact that would have in my life moving forward, moving up to high school and going out to the workforce, not believing that I could ever achieve anything greater than what I was putting my hand up for, because I was too scared of failing and the people laughing at me and not getting it. And it's only through us being coached, having coaches, healing these wounds for ourselves, that I realized that none of that was true. That you cannot change the thoughts that your own mind created. You sort of need someone else to help you out with that.
And awesome stuff in the chat box there, guys. Thank you so much. It does affect a lot of us, or most of us. It does.
Yeah. Thanks for your comments.
Yeah, and it also shows up in stress and burnout. And the lack of tools to move through the situations. And
like you said there, Kevin, this, saying yes at work, that contributes to the stress and burnout, because we take so much on. And like myself, around my friends, I felt like I had to be there for everyone else. So then I didn't have the time to do my work. So then I felt stressed. And didn't get my shit done at work, because I got so much significance from being there for everyone else. But that wasn't really part of my job. But that was a role that I had taken on to make up for not feeling intelligent, smart enough. At least I was good at something else.
And it made your self-worth improve, but at the expense of you being stressed and burnt out or frustrated.
So it's like this catch-22.
Yeah, it's catch-22. We really love this slide. And you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And the little meme there, sometimes you just got to say fuck it and smile.
And
honestly,
have a laugh
at
your own expense, like not take yourself so seriously, and be a bit silly and know that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to fall over as long as you try. That is more important than never trying and never knowing what you're truly capable of. And I thought, well, on that note, we're getting a little bit deep and serious, and just making sure that on that note, we're just going to get a little bit silly.
Everyone just have a little bit, just shake it out a little bit, because we've still got a bit to go here. So just mix it. Hey, thank you, Daryl. Just to break it up a little bit.
Thanks for being silly with us.
We need that.
We do this all the time when we're getting on each other's nerves and we're working, and
music's our savior.
I get a bit serious and Mark get a bit silly, then we both got to sort of break out.
Yes.
And
Monica's never too serious too often. But
Mike's always very silly.
So we'll move on here. And this is where we really get to ask ourselves some deeper questions. And these questions are going to be a part of the giveaway tool, which we'll send to you afterwards. And it's just an insight into them for now. And you see at the bottom of the slide, we've got there the answers. Ask yourself, when you've asked yourself this question, are you always, sometimes, or never? So if I was to say to the first one, I avoid complaining about a bad service or product, always, sometimes, never. When we ask ourselves those questions, well, what answer is it?
Yep, the donkey teeth, Kevin, that's right. That's the favorite. And again, this is not to point out our flaws.
No.
It's okay wherever we're at. It's about having an awareness.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to share. You don't have to share this. Thank you so much. Just having an awareness where you're at so that we can move forward. And again, like Mark and I would have resonated with all of these very, very strongly,
Oh, yeah.
but we had no fucking idea how to move through this.
Yeah, and even though I'm there, I find it hard to set boundaries with people.
Mm.
I didn't do that.
No.
I let people do what they kind of wanted to do, even though it was affecting me. And yeah, that was me.
And we're going to go a little bit deeper into boundaries as well, so that we can explain, because not everyone knows what it is. Because people have really loose boundaries, and then people have really, really strict boundaries, so they don't let anyone in. So we'll go a bit deeper into that as well. But hands up, who can resonate with any of these,
Yeah.
even if it's just one. Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
in this together. Like no one has their shit together. Like seriously, no one does.
Some more questions here. And, you know, one I looked at, sort of, I put more importance on other people's feelings than my own.
Mm. And mine used to be, I give more than I take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I end up doing things I
Yeah.
don't want to do because I can't say no.
Yeah.
How often I used to do that.
Yeah.
This
Thanks,
is
Jane. Thanks, Maria.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I stay in relationships with people that hurt me out of fear of losing them.
Mm. That's a big one.
Yeah,
We-
absolutely.
As we work with a lot of couples, people are so fearful of leaving a relationship and being scared of being alone and not knowing if they can handle it. That's what we found a lot when we were working with couples, that scared of making the decision in case they couldn't handle whatever was going to come after that. Because we've always said we can never guarantee the outcome that you're going to live happily ever after. All we can guarantee is that you will be more confident and comfortable moving forward, regardless of the decision that you make. And it's for everything that we do.
Yeah, because it all goes back to your self-worth
Mm.
of being good enough.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. What difference would it make in your life if you were to put yourself first more often? You know, it's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question. And what difference would it make in your life when you start putting yourself first? And the risk of not doing this, if you think about in a year's time or in 5 years' time, or even fast forward 10, 15 years, keep doing the same patterns. This was super scary when I asked myself these questions. If I stayed the same, knowing where I was at in my life, where would that take me? And I can guarantee that Mark and I wouldn't be together still now if we hadn't had the help that we've had.
Oh, correct.
It just
Correct.
wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
I remember saying to Mark, when we've had, you know, a little one and times were stressful and difficult, I said to Mark, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore.
Yeah.
And there was some pretty difficult conversations that we were having.
Very difficult conversation. And I acknowledge Monica for having the courage to be able to say that, because a lot of people are unable to say that. And I'll put my hand up as there's no way I'd be able to probably say that. I would have done other actions of avoidance rather than actually saying it, because that was my avoiding conflict strategy that I used to run. And however, learning new strategies, it's now so much easier to have a conversation to Monica and to anybody around me now, because I know that I'm going to be okay when I have that conversation. And I can do it in such a resourceful way now as well.
Just checking in, is everyone there with us? Are we going too deep, or is everyone learning lots, heaps? Yeah. Should we keep going?
Yeah, roll call.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great. The risk factor, the risk of not changing friendships and family, whatever that may be, whoever it may be around you.
So as we mentioned a few times now, and this is from our own lived experience, what we shared, the unhappiness and the frustration.
Yeah.
Not knowing, not having the tools, not healing the stuff. Like we've both been through things. We've both been, and everyone has, but it's what we do with it. And it's dealing with the emotional attachment that the triggers that we experience if we don't deal with our childhood trauma, whatever it might be, big or small, it compounds. And then when we least expect it, it's like that, what is it, the straw that on the camel, that one. When we're in a situation that doesn't really require that amount of reaction from us, the feelings compound and we just lose our shit and we go, what the fuck was that about? And it's like, I don't know, I just lost my shit. But it's about those the onion layers and the compound of emotions that we haven't dealt with. And that is what our clients are working with us, and we're helping them to heal. And we're not letting go of them because we can't change our past, but what we can change is how we react to what happens to us.
Correct. Because eventually you get so tired of being depleted mentally, physically, emotionally, you're just drained and you're rejecting your true self. And I'll share a story of mine where, and I'll do that later on, where I felt I was rejecting my true self and I had to honor myself.
Thanks, Kevin and Jeff. Thanks, Maria. Yeah, it's so true. Thank you so much for sharing. So boundaries. Boundaries, like if someone throws a fit because you set boundaries, it is just more evidence that the boundary is needed. And what I mean by that is I see boundaries as a beautiful garden, and we have a picket fence. Just imagine a picket fence around our beautiful garden. And our beautiful garden, we have nurtured, we have fertilized. It's been sunlight on it. It's been really carefully chosen the different plants that we love. And then we put the picket fence around. And when people come into our lives, we can choose to stand and talk to them over the fence. We can choose to open the fence to some people that we want to invite into our garden that we trust and that we know are going to treat our garden well. And then there's some people that we're just going to say, keep on walking, buddy. I don't want you here. Because if we open up the gates, if we open up the gates to the people that we don't want there, meaning not setting healthy boundaries, they're going to tremble all over a beautiful garden that we put so much effort and nurture and time and love into. So that's really what boundaries is all about.
And we want to keep our garden looking lush and green and our flowers not to be trampled on.
Yes. And Mark loves gardening, by the way.
I love gardening, and so I'm very passionate about who comes over my fence.
And I love plants.
Yes, absolutely.
Any avid gardeners here, by the way? I hate gardening, but I love plants.
Spring, it's beautiful at the moment.
Who loves gardening?
Yes, I do love my lawn.
Who hates gardening?
I was out there fertilising it yesterday, Kevin. I prefer to dance. No, us too. Very cool.
Good. I like that one. Yes, I'm with you there, Maria. Absolutely.
So boundaries, I'm going to run through a few of these. And setting boundaries is a crucial aspect of your health and well-being. And boundaries are consequences. Every choice we make has a consequence.
Fertilizer means you give a shit. Yes, I love that.
Absolutely.
And knowing, absolutely.
Absolutely, I love that.
And this one, I know this will hit home, but not setting boundaries is a boundary. It is your choice. And I have a story around this, something that happened quite recently, actually, that tested my boundaries. And we are so big on, especially as we were working for so long with couples and relationships, honey, we got to walk the walk, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
If, you know, we're going to teach you, we got to bloody do it ourselves and up the game and so forth. And our daughter, our daughter is catching the bus to school. She just started high school this year, and she built up her courage to catch the bus to school in the city. And then all of a sudden she wanted us to drive her every day. And then we slowly built up her courage to start catching the bus a couple of times a week. And she texted me, and I was sitting at home and I was doing some work, and she texted me saying, Mom, please, you know, pulling my heartstrings, pick me up. Can you please pick me up? It's so hot. And it was like 25 degrees. It wasn't really that hot, but she was probably thinking, you know, if I push Mum hard enough here, she's going to say yes. And we had already explained to her the reason we were asking her and encouraging her to catch the bus was because we wanted her to learn to become resilient. Yes, teenagers, to become resilient, so that we didn't do everything for her. Like the other children are so much older, so we really can. We can do everything for her, and we want to, but it's not about us. So we wanted to teach her to be more resilient and be able to handle a hot bus and catching the bus and all the rest. And as soon as I saw the message come through, I almost lifted off my seat going, yes, coming to the rescue. And then I was like, fuck's sake, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not walking the walk. And I'm sitting there going, oh, what am I afraid of here? Rejection, that she's going to get the shits and she's not going to love me. And that, you know, all these sort of stories started, you know, coming in my head. And I was like, Monica, this is your test. Walk the walk. And I was like, what do you need to do? You know what you need to do. So I started texting her. So I said, it's only 25. It's going to get hotter. I would really appreciate to be able to use this time to do some work. There's going to be plenty of other days when it's going to be hot, sweetheart. And I was waiting for a response. No response. And I was like, oh, but just fine. So just having to back myself that I can handle it. But that's really boundaries there, not being able to if I would have gone and picked her up, she would have gone, oh, that's how easy it is to tweak Mum and make her, you know, and then she wouldn't have learned the consequences from it. So does that make sense to everyone? What that is?
Or anyone who've got children and has experienced that.
And it's okay to do things for our children, but in building resilience and setting boundaries, because adults are really adults with childhood wounds that haven't healed. We're really adults walking around, or children, walking around in adult bodies, having children's tantrums. Yeah.
And there's another point there. People are not doing things to us. We are allowing them to do things to us because we choose not to set boundaries with them. So important that.
Actually, write this one down, guys. People are not doing things to us. We are allowing them to do things to us. That is boundaries. Write that down. And lastly, setting boundaries can cause pain. That's that fear I was feeling when I was sitting there about to text but didn't want to. That is that pain, that fear. Oh my God, she's not going to love me anymore. But not setting boundaries will cause pain too. That's that long-term pain where we keep having people trembling all over our boundaries.
Yeah.
Who can relate to that, by the way, having to put their foot down and then, either not doing it and feeling like shit, or actually putting a boundary down and going, oh, I survived that. Gathering evidence that we can and we can survive.
So how do we set boundaries? How do we do it? You know, we've spoken about, you know, how it shows up and why. So how do we do it? So we need to be clear and define the outcome of it, you know, and what difference does it make. And I want to share a story which happened only about 4 weeks ago with my parents. And it's such a cool story because we were putting this workshop together. So my parents, do volunteering at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. They volunteer there once a week, and they drive their car to a street, get on a bus, head on in there. One morning, they're at the bus stop, and this old car backed up. They had a walking frame in the back, on the back seat. And there's this old bugger who's very respected at the hospital, has been volunteering there for many, many years. He even has his own car park there. And that is at the hospital. The hospital paid for his car park. So he's pulled up and said, oh, Pauline and Tony, jump on in, I'll give you a lift. They're like, yeah, okay. It was the worst car ride they've ever had. Mum's in the back thinking she's going to die, thinking they're going to be an accident. Dad's sitting there just worried what's going on. This guy, I think he's in his late 80s or early 90s. And they're put in the car park and Mum was just terrified. And I caught up with Mum and Dad and they said, oh, they told us about their experience. And they said, oh, we don't know what we're going to do next week because he's going to drive past the bus stop. He's going to probably offer us a lift.
And they asked us, what are we going to do? Because we can't say no to this guy because he's so well respected at the hospital.
Correct. And
so we can't say no. Like we have to get up an hour earlier, catch a different bus. And they were like mind boggled.
So they actually did. They got up earlier, got on the earlier bus to avoid having to say no to this gentleman. And how frustrating would that be? And when I said to him, well, you just say to him, no thanks, John. I don't know what his name is, but no thanks, John. We like to get the bus. This is what we like to do. We get to have a chat on the bus. It's a good experience for us. We're all cool. So when we go to set boundaries, identify your desired outcome.
Which would be, in this case, they want to get to work in one piece.
Yep.
In their own way.
Yep.
Without sitting squished in the back
of this little car with the walking frame.
With the walking frame and fearful of dying.
Correct. And so they had to communicate that. Say what you need, say what you're wanting.
That we can catch the bus by ourselves.
Correct. And then it's been simple, simplicity. Don't over-explain. Keep it simple.
And don't justify. Don't go on this long tangent. Well, you know, we need to feed our dog and then we need to like feed the goldfish and we need to like do this and this and this so that we can't get on the bus. Just go, this is what we need to do.
Correct. Keep it nice and simple. You don't need to justify yourself for anybody. And the consequences, say why it is important.
So people understand.
Yeah, so for my parents, it was, well, it's important because we like to just spend time with each other on the bus when no one's driving. It's our little thing we do. And yeah, so there's just some tips on how to set boundaries. And I suppose, you know, what would happen if we kept people, if we keep people pleasing in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years time from now? What would it be like?
Yeah, if we kept doing the same patterns and we didn't move through the fear, knowing that we will be okay.
Yeah, absolutely, Maria. It's simple, and simplicity does make it so easier. Absolutely, absolutely.
10 years ago, yeah.
I'll share a personal story of something I did just over a year ago. And it was my 50th birthday. And there was a certain family member that I hadn't spoken to in 16 or so years. And I actually didn't want them to come. We were paying for everyone for their dinner, and I actually didn't want this person to come. And I sent the message to my brother saying, you're invited. And he's like, I said, oh no, just you. And I knew before I was going to do any of this, it was going to cause a shitstorm. It was going to cause the family to just go fucking erupt. However, I was going to be true to myself. I didn't want to have someone at my birthday dinner that doesn't talk to me, doesn't acknowledge me. And so I was going to set a boundary, and I did. And it was fucking scary, very scared because I knew what was going to come of it in regards to the family uproar. However, I knew I had to be true to myself far more than what that uproar was going to be. I had to weather the storm, and I knew the storm was going to come, and it did. However, I still feel so good that I made that decision, and I was honouring me.
Despite everything that did come your way.
Despite everything that did come my way, and I mean heated conversations from my parents.
Children.
My son was ringing me up saying, Dad, I'm not cool with what you did.
That was harsh.
And fuck, that was hard because that's right in my heart. And I had to explain to him, hey, mate, I'm putting a boundary in place because I'm respecting myself. And it is tough. I get it. I get it's tough. And you may not understand.
Because this is their family too.
Absolutely. And I encourage all of them to still catch up. And that it's not that. And so my son was cool with it. The best part was I was cool with it. And if I didn't learn all these strategies and have these tools in my toolkit, there's no way I would have been able to do that. And then I would have, if I didn't do it, I would have left my own birthday dinner feeling shitty and frustrated and pissed off that I had someone there that I actually didn't really want there. And I honoured myself. And it's just...
I was super proud of Mark for how far he'd come in all these years where we've been working on ourselves in order to honour himself. Like maybe you share what you would have done in the past.
Oh, in the past, I probably would have, smoked some dope beforehand, had 6 beers and 3 wild turkeys and gone to the dinner and just,
Just joked about
and
it.
just joked around and ignored it. However, that's not where I'm at and haven't been for many years. And knowing these tools, I remember walking out the back of my phone and I said to Monica, I'm not going to invite her. And Monica was like, that's going to cause a lot of stuff. I said, yeah, I do. And I'm okay with it. And it was tough, yes. However, it was still so rewarding and empowering. So empowering that it took my self-worth up a whole new level. And
again, it doesn't matter where you're at. It just matters that you showed up today and you're on this journey, gaining the awareness, gaining tools, and just building on the courage to become even more of you. And we so admire the courage it takes to just rock up.
Absolutely.
Just rock up and honor yourself, just as something like this today. That takes guts.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Actually, I think we're due for a bit of being something silly.
Gone a bit too deep.
What do you guys reckon? Just joking.
That wasn't long enough. Jeepers. So I needed that. Actually, that was good.
How's everyone going? Are we going too deep again? We tend to do that. Everyone cool?
Yeah, have a bit of a shake. Come on, just loosen up a little bit so we can...
shaky, shaky, shaky. Bit of a shimmy, bit of a shaky. Yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Actually, Paul, I should have put some of your music on, mate. I've got it in my playlist, but maybe not appropriate for tonight's masterclass.
We'll do that next time.
Yeah. Okay, so the self-esteem triad. Now, how does all this come together? We've got emotions, what we feel, how we feel, how we experience this, and how we feel about what we feel.
That is a mouthful. Read that again. So emotions is what we feel, how we feel, and how we experience this, and how we feel about what we feel. So all these things complement each other in how we experience the world and our own happiness and fulfillment.
That's it. And the next one is needs. What we need to feel validated, important, worthy, and loved.
And being able to communicate these needs to others. That's the most important part, that there's no good sitting on them and knowing them. That's a great first step. Absolutely. And then communicate to others, sharing with others
Yeah.
and needs and what we need from each other, and setting those boundaries
Yeah.
so that they can be reciprocated. It's
Correct.
almost like telling others how we want to be treated.
Yeah. And boundaries, the foundation of this, a limit or space between you and another person.
Yeah, that's the picket
You know,
fence again. Really
correct.
showing people how we want to be treated. Because if we don't do that, then people have no idea.
How do they know?
And that's when we end up saying things like, oh my God, this person did this to me. Well, I can't believe they said this or did this. When we start putting in healthy boundaries, people can feel the energy.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
feel when we turn up with more confidence of who we are
Oh, yeah.
and what we expect from us and what we expect from others.
It's so when the feeling that people get when you put in the boundaries is just massive.
No wonder
Just
we get
massive.
confused. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Absolutely.
So self-esteem improvement. Self-esteem is not by chance. It is by design. Through knowing and understanding the power of living with healthy boundaries, meeting our needs, and knowing our emotions, we can build our own self-esteem. Now, that is just a massive point just there.
Absolutely. And then going on to the next one is what we talked about before, when our boundaries as children were denied, because the people that were caring for us did the best they could with what they had. Everyone does. Everyone does the best they can with what they've been taught. And it's really intergenerational trauma that we carry from our parents, our grandparents,
Yep, you're right.
grandparents,
Yeah.
our great grandparents, and so forth. We carry stuff from the wars, from food stamps and rations and that scarcity mindset. And then they're doing everything they can to protect us, but sometimes it doesn't actually serve us. So the boundaries as children were denied unintentionally. We don't develop a sense of who we are, what we stand for, and how we show up in life.
And we have to move through fear. We have to move through, and growth is not comfortable.
No, it's not. It's really not.
But it's how we move through the uncertainty and back ourselves that we can handle it. How we experience the new world of possibility.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's what I did with my experience with, just over a year ago. I had to handle the uncertainty and just trust that I could handle what was going to come for me in that new world experience. And yes, I did.
And also, to have something that we never had before, we have to do something that we haven't done before. Like, write that one down as well, guys. To have something that we haven't had before, we have to do something that we haven't done before. So, are we learning lots tonight?
Just checking in with everyone. Everyone's
Yeah.
all cool. How we're going here?
Yeah, you guys loving it? Awesome.
Great. What have we got here? We either internalize our pain and shut down, or we externalize our pain and act out. So I used to do a bit of both there. I would shut down, and I'd also act out like a young boy having a tantrum in an adult body. I would act it out.
Yeah.
And you can't change your past, but you can heal from your past. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's a big one. That is probably, if you take away anything tonight, is that. That's a really important one. You can't change your past, but you can heal from your past.
Yeah.
We cannot change what we've experienced as children that we're still carrying through as adults. but we can't, we can change how we relate to the situation. So let's say someone has experienced some trauma, whatever that might be. Let's say it's a simple thing, not a simple thing, but a one-off thing like an accident. We cannot change the accident that happened, but we can help someone take away the emotional charge that comes up every time they think about this and being triggered by it. We can absolutely take away that emotional charge. So it's just like, it's like going and buying bread or milk at the local IGA when they think about it. And I know that sounds really wacky, but it's really simple.
Yeah, it is. And like that last bullet point here, we can give ourselves what we have been missing all these years. And again, it's because we are all worthy of it. The next slide, it's just quick little bullet points. And I've sent this out to a few people. It's something I love. And it's just little bullet points of, it's not my job to fix others. It's okay to say no.
Yeah, it is, guys, it is okay to say no. We just got to know. The question everyone unconsciously asks themselves is, can I handle it? Like that was the thoughts I went through there when I said no to Lula about the bus. Oh my God, it's like, no. Yeah, she's probably going to be shitty when she comes home. Can you handle it? Yes. Yeah. So say no and teach her resilience. So it is okay to say no. And it is not our job to take responsibility for others. We don't have to be the people pleasers, because we're actually robbing them of their experience and their growth. When we people pleasing, we're robbing others of their growth.
And I don't have to anticipate the needs for others. And nobody has to agree with me.
That's a big one too.
Because quite often people hold themselves back because maybe someone won't agree with them. And I'm responsible for my own happiness. Yeah,
because quite often, and would say, I used to say this all the time, this person did this to me. Oh, you should have heard. I was so big on gossiping. I would spend so much time gossiping and really getting into the nitty-gritty of what other people were doing so that I could put myself on a freaking pedestal and think that I was like, my shit didn't stink. And you'd remember this. And I was getting exhausted by trying to keep up about what others were doing. So, but I was the only one when I realized this, and I got help around this, that I am responsible for my happiness. I couldn't say that anymore, that he or she did this to me. It's like, well, they might have, but how am I responding to it?
Yeah. And
who agrees to that, by the way? Who can relate to that? They've been frustrated about what other people are saying and doing and ruining your day. But at the end of the day, I know this, it's kind of throwing in your face, but we are responsible for how we react.
And thank you for comments in the chat box. That's great. Enjoying the slides.
Thank you, guys.
And I have a right to my own feelings. Of course we do. They're yours. You can feel how you want to feel. And I have a right to express my needs honestly. That one is so important. And for those in relationships, that is so important to express your needs honestly.
Yeah. And I loved when you started doing that.
And
you were really pulling me up on my stuff, because I was very controlling. And I would almost try to make Mark feel certain ways to get off the hook myself. And then when Mark gained through all the work that he did, the confidence to go, hey, I'm pulling you up on your shit. You're doing these things, and just riddle them off. And I'm going, oh my God. I was annoyed. I was sitting there gritting my teeth, but behind the scenes I was going, go you. Go you.
I knew how you showed that. And at the time. And the last one is, I'm enough. Because you are enough. We are all enough. Absolutely. Hey, these are my words. We want to share a few testimonials from our clients just to put this into perspective. So here, Mark took me through so many different areas and aspects that I was not expecting and was not aware of previously. And the sessions involve a lot of self-discovery and are very thought-provoking. You can only emerge with a better perspective on life and a much clearer idea of how you want to live.
Hi, Monica. I just wanted to come on and really express to you how grateful I am for the session we had this week. I am super excited about moving forward with a brand new mindset. I came to you, I know that I was a little bit on the edge, and I just want to say thank you for your patience with me. I've never experienced a coach who did not forcefully take me out of my comfort zone. You knew that there was going to be a stretch. And just the way that you guided me through this exercise and allowed me to take time, understanding that a stretch was coming, and being there by my side, letting me know that you were there with me the whole time as I sort of pressed through the discomfort. I'm so grateful for you. I've sort of been on cloud 9 over the past couple of days since our session. And I believe that a lot of that has to come from me coming into a session with a limited mindset and a limiting belief. And you helped me debunker that. And I feel amazing. And I just really want to say thank you for helping me through the frustration I was feeling. Thank you for just raising your hand and knowing that I was going through something, and you extended that olive branch to me saying, hey, come on over, I can help you with this. And I'm super glad that I did. So thank you so very much. I'm truly grateful for you. And I love you. Thank you, Mama.
So we promised you at the start that we'd give you the opportunity at the end of this class to book in a free 45-minute strategy session with either of us, whoever you resonate with. And we will talk about where you're at right now, what the gap is, and some strategies and how you can move forward.
So pop in the chat box if you'd like to book in a session, and we'll make contact with you so we can book it in.
Awesome, Maria. We'll get in contact with you.
Mm-hmm. With us.
It's Paul.
Awesome,
Great stuff.
Paul. Great,
Awesome,
Shane.
Shane.
Awesome, Jeff.
Yep.
Great, Kev. Awesome. Awesome. So we'll send you. Great, Emma. Cheers, Daryl. Awesome. And we'll be in contact. So we're getting towards the end of our masterclass, and would love for you, if you feel like sharing, unmuting yourself, or if you want to put in the thank you, Kim, or in the chat box, some key learnings or any questions you may have. And feel free to unmute yourself if you want to, or in the chat box, and we can throw around a few questions.
What were your biggest key takeaways? Me too, Maria.
Did you want to share something there, Daryl?
I was just trying to unmute myself.
You did.
Better than me.
I've done a new computer today, so I could do this tonight. That's great. No, look, it's been wonderful. I can't wait to catch up with you, Mark. Whenever I chat to you or see you, it brightens my day. You're a wonderful man.
Oh, mate, thank you. And likewise, mate, right back at you, mate.
Thanks for being on tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been great. It's I thought it'd be good, but it's been so much better.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of
I'm really
feedback.
glad to hear that.
It's really cool.
Great.
Was there anything else you wanted to share, Kevin, apart from that?
So good.
What's your biggest? Yes, please. It's crazy. What's your
Tell us
biggest?
what you really
It's been a good session tonight. It's a bit like a refresher. It's pretty good.
Nice, mate. Nice.
Mm.
That's really cool. Thank you for being on here, mate. Really appreciate it.
I don't feel like such an alien now.
No, you're not, mate. We're all here and we're all in this world doing our thing. So, yeah, no one's alone.
No, that's the thing. No one is alone. We are all in this together, and no one has got their shit together. Like I heard somewhere, another level, another devil. And
Yeah,
I personally really resonate with that. That when you, like, as you've done a lot of work, Kevin, already on yourself, and which means that you will put yourself out for more challenges. So when you do that, you grow. And then the smaller challenges that were really challenging before seem smaller. So when you then go to the next level, the next little devil will pop up. And that's what you're experiencing. So you think, your conscious thinks that, oh, I haven't grown. But what you're really doing is you've gone to the next level and experienced better quality challenges.
yeah,
So go you.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You just don't
The
know.
old like the old Space Invaders game.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
The better you get, the harder it gets.
yes, correct.
yeah,
Correct.
totally. Yeah,
Correct.
another level, another devil. We
Yeah.
all experience this. And if we didn't, it would be so bloody boring.
Yeah,
Like we need challenges to grow, and we need to stretch ourselves and get out of our comfort zones. Otherwise, we'd be boring and we'd all be taking drugs. Seriously.
that'd be funny,
True.
wouldn't it?
For a day or two,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, Thursdays are over. Has anybody else got any other key learnings or something
Or
like to share?
questions.
Or questions? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No.
No, that's really.
No.
cool.
What was your favorite from tonight?
Oh, I've taken so many notes.
Oh, that's
Share
excellent.
it, because if you can all put a key takeaway, then it
Yeah.
will help everyone else to remember it on an unconscious level as well. So if you can all pop in the chat box, your
Mm.
biggest key takeaways from tonight, you're helping everyone in the room.
And I relate to that, Kim, as well. It's yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
It's it can be very costly.
Yeah,
And yeah, thank you, Shane. Yeah, it's so many things to ponder.
Yeah.
How to set boundaries. Yeah, awesome, Paul. Yeah, cool.
yes,
Great
I love
takeaway.
that. I love that.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
We now people do things to us, not by setting boundaries. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. This session. Yeah. Awesome. It's
Fantastic.
okay to say no to that. Yeah,
Yeah, welcome.
absolutely. Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah, absolutely, mate.
Ooh.
What you said about fear early. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you, Emma. Something we haven't had before. We must do something we've never. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that's such a cool quote.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you, guys.
We are so stoked, and we want to acknowledge you all for joining us here tonight, hanging out, rocking out in our quirkiness and our weird stuff we do.
And riding with it. We
Yeah.
did say we're going to be weird. I hope we delivered.
Yeah, thank you for coming, leaning in, being courageous and participating. It really means a lot. We really do appreciate all of you.
We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. It's been great. We love this stuff. Absolutely, you can get the recording, most definitely. So if anyone wants the recording, we can send that out. And also, I'll be sending out, or we'll be sending out, the giveaway of the boundaries
Yes.
and your people-pleasing checker, which is such a cool little document.
Look out for that tomorrow. And we'll also send you a
Feedback.
feedback form.
Yeah, if it's okay, it's 8 multiple choice little questions.
Super quick so we can improve and deliver more value.
Yeah.
So really appreciate it.
That'd help us out if you don't mind. That'd be great. It's been an absolute
Yeah,
pleasure, as I
absolute
said.
pleasure.
So, have a great night. Thank you all so much.
And we'll get in touch regarding a free strategy session. Look forward to it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
You're
Thanks,
amazing.
guys. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
See
Thank
you,
you so
everybody.
much. You're amazing.
Good night, guys. Take
See
care.
you.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
See you,
Thank you.
Dale. Cheers, mate.
Take
Thanks for being here, mate.